everybody, Heather Pelletier here, co-founder, co-creator, and head of research for CHP Paranormal Investigations. Um, During our live earlier, we told you we were on our way to Rosewood, the site of the Rosewood Massacre, to find the Rosewood Cemetery and try to communicate with the people there. I'm going to offer my apologies at this time. We made it to Rosewood, and unfortunately, Rosewood does not have much of anything left for us to be able to conduct an investigation. I do want to give you a little history of what happened there because these people want their story told. It's been told, there was a movie made about it, but I'm just going to give you a short little clip, and then I'm going to turn things over to my husband Chad, who's with us, and he's going to lead us on an investigation this evening at our current location, which he will explain in a moment. So, the Rosewood Massacre was a racially motivated massacre of African Americans and the destruction of an African American town during the first week of January of 1923. Rosewood sat right next, within a mile of the town of Sumner in Levy County, Florida at the time. A white woman by the name of Fannie Taylor had a lover outside of marriage who she had gotten in a fight with, and he kind of beat her up a little bit. Well, she made a claim that her home was broken into and she was assaulted by a black man. She made this claim on January 1st of 1923. Well, at the same time, a African American prisoner escaped from a chain gang. His name, Jesse Hunter. So the nearby white settlers assumed that he was the attacker and that he fled into Rosewood, the African American town nearby. And just the day prior to this occurrence in Gainesville, the Klan had held a rally underneath a burning cross and a banner that read, "First and always protect womanhood." Well, as the rumors spread of the assault of this woman, more and more white men gathered in the town of Rosewood, trying to hunt down and accusing anyone and everyone of hiding the escaped prisoner. In doing so, they pretty much destroyed the entire town of Rosewood. They lit homes, churches, buildings on fire, doused them in kerosene, lit them on fire, and then shot the people as they tried to escape the homes. Some people were able to flee into the swamps and escape, but when it was all said and done on January 6th, this lasted for 6 days, this terror and this tragedy, they officially accounted for at least 8 dead, 6 African Americans, 2 whites. The true number and death toll is not known because they never reported the true number of deaths of whites, and they estimated at least 27 African American deaths. We went there looking for Rosewood Cemetery today to try and make contact with the victims of this tragedy. Unfortunately, because of because the town took a stance of silence, everybody that managed to flee and escape left. Most of them changed their names, and none of them came back to claim their property or anything else. So the deceased were basically buried in a mass grave that was left unmarked. And even though it's titled Rosewood Cemetery, there's no official cemetery for us to find, only coordinates on a map that look to be in the middle of the woods. We did visit the official marker that was established for Rosewood. The state of Florida declared Rosewood a heritage landmark in 2004. They erected a historical marker on State Road 24 that names some of the victims and describes a little bit of the destruction of the community. That marker stands in front of the only home and building left standing from the original town of Rosewood, which belongs to a white gentleman by the name of John Wright, and he actually owned the general store, and he and his wife were responsible for helping hide and helping several of the African American people flee during this tragic event. You can also find information about this event in the book called Freaky Florida, written by Mark Muncy and Carrie Schultz. They covered this area and a little bit of the history as well. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because, due to my clairvoyant nature, I decided to lay my hands on the marker that was left there and close my eyes and open myself up to try and make contact. When I did so, I saw it happen. I could literally see the homes burning, the churches burning, the people fleeing in fear. I felt all of it. It was almost as if I was there experiencing it. This was a horrible, horrible tragedy. And because the people took a tone of silence on the tragedy, other than that marker and the building that is still standing, there's nothing there left to visit in order for us to conduct a proper investigation. But we did want to share with you this information and this history because these things should not be forgotten. The silence should not continue. We need to learn from these things so that the mistakes and tragedies of the past do not continue or get repeated. It was a very draining experience. I was not expecting what I got, but I want to thank you for listening to me about the history of this place and what I was able to experience going there. And let's remember these people and remember what they went through. So thank you, everybody. At this point, I'm going to take over filming, and we're going to move to my husband, our lead investigator. He has brought us to a new location, and he's going to explain where we're at and what we're doing here. And so thank you guys, and here we are.
How you guys doing? It's me, Chad, for CHP Paranormal Investigations. Along with me is Bella, the ghost hunting dog. And we were determined that we were going to bring you some kind of content tonight. So we made made a trip over to Fountain Memorial Park. So this is where Jessica Lunsford is buried. And her grave is over behind me, where you guys can see currently right now Grady, who's also with us, our way. We're going to go ahead and head over to Jessica Lunsford's grave. Now when it gets to be where it's dark, we're going to go ahead and head over to the mausoleum, because there have been other paranormal teams that have caught the shadow figure over at the mausoleum. And I'm actually really surprised at the size of this cemetery. I thought it always looked a lot bigger when I was watching it on YouTube. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and make our way over to Jessica Lunsford's grave. And real quick, how'd you over there?
There were a few what sounded like female child voices they come through, but a lot of male ones too. I did pick up the word rape when I asked what actually happened to her.
Jessica Lunsford was taken from her home, from now convicted and died in prison John Cooey, who was a sex offender who was not registered, lived in a trailer across the street from her. Now the sad part is she was actually held in his trailer for a couple days while they were looking for her, and then he killed her and left her remains when they found her remains. Her dad, Mark Lunsford, is responsible for a bill that got passed in Florida called the Lunsford Act, which also helped get us the Amber Alerts that we got nowadays when a child goes missing. So it's because of what happened to Jessica Lunsford that it's mandatory now for any sex offender to have to get registered in the state of Florida. It's mandatory. They can't even get out of prison. As soon as they're convicted, they automatically go on a list. So something like this can't happen again to another child where a sex offender who was convicted didn't register. So we're going to go ahead.
So yeah, you need to go over there and see what you can get on you in that crowd, because you have a lot more you can ask her. I didn't know all of that. I did end up asking if she missed her parents and if she was waiting for them. She did say yes.
Well, the only
or someone said yes, I should say.
The only parent that I know she has left is her dad. I'm not 100% sure what happened to her mom. I don't know if
there's a Ruth. There's two plots right next to her, so those are in the middle. Oh, those are her grandparents.
Yeah, because if you look on top of when we go over there, I'll show you
there's no death
the
dates.
plots.
There's no death dates.
Well, the ones
right next to her?
Yeah, it says grandparents, and then it says
like Ruth and something.
So
Ruth on one side.
Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and start making our way over
here to Justin, see if we can come into contact him.
Also, see if we could.
The bushes. Yeah. That's what I would do. Grady has to step away for a moment. We're going to continue following Chad as he leads us on the investigation, and Grady will be right back with us in a moment.
So we're also going to let any other spirits that want to connect with us. Now what's cool, tonight is not a windy night, and I want you guys to see if there are wind chimes in this tree. And then I think there's a couple over here by Jessica Lunsford's grave. Take a look at them, yeah. With
Okay.
the camera. And notice, so if we start hearing these chimes, there's no wind out here.
And if you'd like to come take a look.
Some of them look like they are moving.
Yes, actually. So I thought you might be interested in seeing that.
Yeah, I see a little bit of movement from this one over here closest to me. Oh wow, we had a birthday over here. March 5th and March 9th. Was his birthday okay, they're not dead. So I guess that was left over from January 27th, their son.
Possibly.
Like I said, there's also some more chimes in this tree.
They also appear to have movement going, and There is 0 wind at the moment, just so you know.
You also got this beautiful. You know, before we get over here to Jessica Lunsford's grave, I want to also show you this. This is beautiful. Whoever took the time to make this.
I'm coming.
This is gorgeous. Right here. This is just beautiful, and it's moving.
Looks like seashells.
Yes, and it's panning to like it's like. If this is a spirit that's moving this to kind of show it off, can you twist it and let me see the other side? Use your energy and just twist this thing like you were just doing and make it come back. Not, okay, it's going to come back this way.
Thank you.
Alright, so over here, now is Jessica Lunsford. So she's in the middle. Right here, and you see the toys that people have left for her. And next to her grave, and you see how on the top of her grave it says daughter. Jessica Marie Lunsford. Our loved angel is what it says on the bottom. And then to the left of her grave is her father's plot, Mark Lunsford. And it says father on top of his grave. And then
only his date of birth shows us he's still living.
Yes, and then over here to the right, it says grandparents above, and it's her grandmother and grandfather, Ruth and Archie. It's plot also, so they could be buried together. So, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start the necrophonic app. And by the way, you guys see these nice shirts? My wife spent all night last night making each team member their shirt. It says the CHP Paranormal on the top, and then on the back,
lead investigator Chad Pelletier.
Pretty nifty. We are getting ready to have custom made shirts coming in soon, so we'll be looking a little bit more
I did design us.
official.
For anyone who's curious, I designed our shirts through customink.com. Wonderful website. They have all kinds of products imaginable that you can design for your business.
Yes. Awesome job. I can't wait for the shirts to come in. Alright, here we go. Oh, gotta turn it up. Hi Jessica, we're here trying to talk to you, if you don't mind. Brought Bella here to make it a little bit more comfortable for you to talk to us. And just wondering if you know what's gone on with you. You can speak to the device that's in my hand. And if you want to tell people, the world, something, you know, maybe something inspiring or what, feel free to. And any other spirits that want to communicate. But I'm really trying to connect with Jessica. Yes, Jessica. So Jessica, can you tell us what happened? Who was the man that held you and killed you? What was his name? Just got John.
And when you asked what happened, it sounded to me like raped me came through the necrophonic app. Was what I heard.
Jessica, do you miss your father? Yeah. Well, Jessica, would you like to give a message to your dad? Like, can you tell us the name of your dad? What kind of animal right now is in front of your grave?
That sounded like a little girl's voice.
Yeah, it's a dog.
Now, mind you, she was 9 years old.
Yes. So how many spirits are around us right now? Girl, are you talking about the dog, or are you talking about the person holding the camera? Dog.
There we go.
See, he even close by at least.
Because I asked for them to give us a name, either one of ours or one of theirs. So, I don't think it was them. Who were these flowers left for? I heard your voice, but it's garbled. So could you introduce so you can come out and come in a little bit more clear? I don't see any that come up here that I'm looking at. I thought I heard Mary.
There's Dean again.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a Dean either.
No, there's not a demon on our
In first or last names.
I see a lot of D for middle initials on these, but that could be anybody.
There's people back here. What's wrong with that? Ooh, another move. Oh, it's this one a little bit dinner after that. Man, it's not on the back of this one, but there's on the back of this one. What was that?
Nothing.
Oh.
Sorry. Excuse me.
I'm just kind of letting Bella lead a little bit right now.
She seems. I'm following.
I heard a little girl say dad, and then heard a woman say father. Emotion.
Tell me if you want extra light at any time, okay?
No problem. Look at this.
Coming. I did hear beer from the Necro app,
Exactly.
and we
Did you
found
find a Dean?
No,
we found beers.
Oh, we found beers, and we did hear the word beer earlier.
Yes, right here.
Yeah. Was it maybe Frank or Evelyn trying to tell us their last name?
I haven't seen a Dean. A Gene.
Were you trying to say Dean earlier when we thought we heard Dean? How many spirits are trying to communicate with us right now? There's a lot of different voices coming through. And you need to stop. They're gonna leave. There's a lot of Roberts I've seen. Are any of you named Robert trying to speak with us right now? Wow.
What'd you see?
Bird.
Following. Right now we're following Chad. He heard a noise and he's following to see where the noise came from.
That's the thing I've noticed about a lot of the paranormal groups that come here is these disjointed noises. And it's like something around here will make a noise and they chase after it. You won't necessarily see anything. But you just never know. I mean, I don't think anybody around here in the neighborhood is trying to mess with us. Don't know. People have seen that we pulled in here and haven't left yet, so.
I think Grady might be having successful communication. You may want to try the other spirit app.
Any other spirits want to talk to us? You can speak also into the device in my hand, or stay talking to the device in Grady's hand, or feel free to speak into the camera. Who keeps running around the mausoleum? You go ahead and speak.
There are lots of pretty flowers. Well kept up. There's a lot of people here last night.
heard that, right? This time? Like, there's nobody down there.
I'm getting a lot of background noise from the neighboring homes.
Yeah, but that was something like right coming around that corner. I think we'll go ahead and wrap up from over here. Drive around and let you take some stills. There's people walking around too, I hear.
Okay. Do we want to wrap up the video session then and just do stills?
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the video session.
Okay,
Do stills, 'cause I
well,
hear
let me get you and Grady
Alright.
to close us out.
Alright.
Because I do believe we have another stop we're gonna make.
Unfortunately, we're gonna go ahead and stop because I hear people walking over here talking, and I don't want that to ruin our evidence. I don't know what they're doing. I don't want to kind of mess up what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't want us to think that we hear things just because of who they're talking.
So,
Don't ever want to bring you guys false evidence.
so we thank you guys for joining us, and we're glad we were able to still bring you guys some content, even though it wasn't the content that we were meaning to bring to you tonight.
And sorry about Rosewood. We were all kind of disappointed, not just you guys.
But please,
I definitely got an experience there though.
please, if you haven't, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification button to the all where you get notifications when we put new videos up. Hit that like button, share,
Tell your friends.
you know,
Share it across
spread
all
it.
your social media.
Yes, and you could
And
join
can
us.
I get a good shot of the shirts real quick, guys? Of course, on the front. Oh, this light is actually not good for you. Let me turn the light a little lower, maybe. Because the glare. There we go. Front of the shirt, CHP Paranormal.
And of course the back.
We have
Let me know if I have to stand up for it.
What you got?
we have lead investigator Chad Pelletier and our investigator Grady Stiles, and of course the beautiful Bella, who I was not going to have tearing at a shirt all night.
Yeah, we'll see how she feels about her shirt at a later date, maybe.
Yeah.
But like I said, you can also join our Facebook group at CHP Paranormal Investigations on Facebook. You can follow Bella on Bella the Ghost Hunting Dog on Instagram. And
I'm on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you have any questions about the group or anything, feel free to hit me up.
subscribe. If you guys got places that, that are manageable right now for us to be able to travel to, maybe you got a house that you don't know if it's actually haunted or not, or if you're experiencing paranormal activity and would like for it to be investigated, go ahead and hit us up on our email, which is chp.paranormal.16@gmail.com. That's chp.paranormal.16@gmail.com. And we will answer. You always check our emails, and we will get back to you and set up an interview. And we don't charge. It's free for us to come and do an investigation of your house, business, or wherever it is you need us to come investigate for you. Just hit us up and we'll go ahead and try to make it happen.
If you know anywhere you think we should investigate, please message us on any of our social medias, our emails, whatever.
Yes. And with that being said, on behalf of CHP Paranormal Investigations, thank you for joining us, and see you at the next haunt.